Hi everyone. In this video, we'll be taking a look at a way to use the Eucon control surfaces to control MIDI CCs in Cubase or Nuendo. The first thing you'll want to do is create a virtual MIDI port. If you're on Windows, you can use a program like Loop MIDI, which is free, and if you're on Mac, then you can do that internally in the OS. You can see that I've created a port called CC port, which is what we'll be using. Jumping into Nuendo, you can see that we have two tracks, the first one being a MIDI track, which I've called CC1, and the second one is an instrument track, which I have Contact loaded into. The MIDI track is what we'll use to convert Eucon's control over the mixer into CCs. For every CC you want to control, you'll want to have a separate MIDI track. Of course, you can save these into your template so they'll always be there and ready to go. For the input, we'll want not connected, and the output we'll want set to our CC MIDI port. It's also important to make sure that the CC MIDI port is in all MIDI here. The last thing to do is set up a MIDI insert on the MIDI track. You want to add the transformer and copy in these settings. We start off by making sure that we're looking only at CCs by the type being controller. And then we're also making sure that we're only looking at CC7, which is the volume control. This is essentially what Eucon controls on a MIDI track in the mixer. You want to make sure that you set this to transform instead of any of the other functions. Down here, all we're doing is subtracting from value 1. Value 1 here meaning the CC number. In this case, we're subtracting 6, so 7 minus 6 is 1, so we'll be controlling CC1. You can change around the math here with add or anything else to get to a different value, just keeping in mind that you're starting off from a value of 7. If we now open up Contact, and I also open up the mixer, you can see here that now when I control the volume of this track, our CC1 here is being changed in Contact. In this case, the dynamics. Now, whenever you have a track selected and are playing in with your keyboard or any other MIDI input device and using the all MIDIs input here on that particular track, you'll also be able to control any CCs on that track by using your Eucon control surface. By using the Eucon control app, you can lock your faders to control only those CC tracks, while the other faders move around, so you'll always have those CC faders on your control surface, while every other fader can be used for mixing as they normally would be used. I hope this video helps. Feel free to send me any questions.